Over to the U.S. state of Montana, where a total of 4 city council officials have now asked the prosecutor's office to drop charges against whistleblower Brandon Bryant, who lifted the lid on civilian killings and U.S. overseas drone operations. The Air Force veteran had been charged with threatening city officials in a YouTube video and is currently in detention. Over the past few months, he's attended multiple city council meetings criticizing the way tax money is being used.
You are that rich man!
You're not going to yell in this chamber, sir, or you're not going to be able to participate in the meeting.
You need to understand, mister.
Sir.
Point of what you have done.
Brandon's mother, though, claims his incarceration is politically motivated. She's launched a campaign in the hope of raising $100,000 for his bail.
Submit, and you will die.
In December, the Pick Your Battles YouTube page posted a video titled, "Brandon Bryant Promises to Eliminate People Over the Next Year." The man in the video goes on to say he will, quote, hunt down and eliminate members of the Missoula City Council and the United States military. Bryant is well known to City Council and law enforcement, and last month brought an apparent weapon to a City Council meeting.
I swore an oath not to kill another human being again.
Bryant claims to be an Air Force veteran. City Council President Brian von Lossberg says these threats are being taken very seriously.
It can be traumatizing. I'm the parent of a second grader. I look at almost everything through the lens of, being a parent and a partner to my wife. So it has a real effect.
It's unclear what prompted these threats, but they seem to be related to development proposals approved by City Council.
It was pretty graphic.
Interim Chief of Police Mike Collier says the police department has issued a written notice of trespass to Bryant, meaning that he can no longer attend public meetings held by the City Council.
We immediately followed up on it. He explained that his purpose with the intent was not really to carry out harm, that he was just frustrated and he wanted some attention to the frustration he was experiencing with the City Council.
Chief Collier also says MPD has had a police presence at City Council meetings for about a year now, and his officers offered to connect Bryant with any necessary resources. In Missoula, Katie Miller, MTN News.
My son was the U.S. Air Force whistleblower who broke the code of silence on the drone program. Now he's in jail in the Missoula County Detention Facility. He has no criminal record.
And all I did was go like that. And I've never hit a woman before. And the SWAT team comes around the corner and fucking tries to tackle me to the ground. And all I did was stand in a wrestling pose for a minute until I let myself down, and then they fucking beat the shit out of me. I didn't fight back at that point, and yet they still want to charge me resisting arrest, and they want to charge me $1,000.
And yet he is being held on $100,000 bail. Under detention, he is isolated from his family, from his friends, and from his medically mandated emotional support animal.
Brandon Bryant served as a U.S. Air Force drone operator from 2006 until 2011. Having left the military, he began exposing cases of what he alleged to be civilian deaths resulting from American drone strikes. Bryant claimed commanders often prioritize the elimination of a target over accuracy, resulting in innocent people being killed in the process. His revelations won him a German whistleblower award in 2015 and also intensified debate over the use of a German airbase by American drones. Here's how Brandon described his experience to us back in 2015.
I actually talked with a lady whose husband was killed, whose husband and brother was killed in a drone strike. I talked to her face to face, and she asked me why her husband and brother had to die. And they weren't bad guys. And I just looked at her and I said, I don't know. And that's not really the best thing that I can tell someone who's asking questions about why someone that they cared about was killed, and they need to know the answers. And the really hard answer to say is that I'm sorry that the mistake happened, and I'm doing everything that I can to prevent further mistakes from happening.
Authorities say Bryant was arrested on a felony charge after he had allegedly exhibited threatening behavior during city council meetings. And on top of that, he threatened to eliminate its members in a YouTube video.
And I'm witness now of those same disgusting, putrid sacks of shit people. The entire Missoula City Council has sold out Missoula to the highest bidder. And what's going to happen over the next year, all those people will be eliminated. And whether in this life or the next, I will dedicate myself to hunting you out and exterminating you. I will be eliminating this wretched fucking filth from the human soul. And what myself is saying is that all you deserve to be eliminated, and I will do it. And if you remove me from this life, I get to choose my next incarnation, and I will hunt you down so that not even the stones will hide you. The very atoms will sing out your presence to me, and I will eliminate you from the fabric of reality, and you will never see another life again. That is my promise.
However, former FBI agent and whistleblower Colleen Rowley believes Bryant's current predicament is connected to his past revelations.
This does seem to be more retaliation for his having spoken out about the drone operations and the fact that they were killing innocent civilians. More so than what he's now done. Typically with a whistleblower, they look back in your personnel file first to see if there's anything bad that they can use to discredit the messenger. And if they can't find anything bad in someone's background or personnel file, then they wait for the whistleblower to, make a small error or mistake. And the drone whistleblowers are in a fragile emotional state already, as you can see, with all the veterans. They suffer from PTSD. And we know from many other cases of retaliating and persecuting whistleblowers that seems to be the standard MO. The government is in perpetual war. And so the war goes on forever. That means that even if you speak out even years ago, and especially if you continue to speak out about the wrongful actions and the war crimes, it's going to continue. This is not to negate the fact that Brandon, certainly he erred if he made any threatening remarks or comments.
People think that I'm mentally unstable or crazy when I talk about this, but these people are evil. These people are wicked and unrighteous. They deserve death. They deserve it. And death shouldn't be off of the table at this point. They're destroying our world and our planet. We're having this climate change shit that's going on.
My ex, who is keeping my son from me, that no matter what she does, that I would always love her, always forgive her. And it didn't matter if she was on her knees in front of me and I had permission from God himself to swing a sword and kill her and decapitate her. That in my heart, I couldn't do it.
And everyone that I've gone to help for, they're like, oh, you're just going to have to let go and you're just going to have to wait for him to get older and he'll realize the truth. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you people who I relied on and who I went to for help, and you did this to me. No one will be able to stop me. That I promise. And I will bring the entire world to its knees. The stick.
I have this thing with me. I was going to tell you a story about it, but I really just want to tell you that I swore an oath not to kill another human being again. And I carry this around sometimes because it's just a stick. but it was carved in a tool that was specifically created to end another human being's life, and that was all it was created to do.
Yeah. If you don't hear from me, good luck. And if you're my enemy, go fuck yourself. If I don't kill you in this life, I'll kill you in the next.
According to all the old laws and all the ancient laws, I would be fucking justified in going on a bloody fucking killing spree.
Comments. He certainly should be corrected and he should receive more treatment, but I don't think he should be punished the way he's being punished.
Rhino loved to fly.
Former drone pilot, what he thinks of this assessment. Joining us in the now is ex-Air Force pilot and drone operator Brandon Bryant. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. How do you feel? I hope you heard our previous guest. He was from NoDrones.com, calling drone operators essentially murderers.
Well, I just want to clarify first that I'm not a pilot. Was a sensor operator.
You're basically saying that drone operators are not pilots. Am I correct?
No, there is a pilot, but there's two people that fly these things, and one is a pilot and one is not, and I was the not.
So what does the not do exactly?
We didn't know it at the time, but Cannon would actually lead to the most significant achievement of Rhino's career, which was, somewhat ironically, documented in a letter of reprimand. This is a long story, but it's an important one, and although I know that many of you know parts of it, no summation of Rhino's career would be complete without it, so I will relay it to you now. In the spring of 2011, Rhino went into work. And when he heard what the mission was, he concluded that it violated the Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment provides no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. No person. He informed leadership of his objection. He was switched to another mission. And for several months thereafter, he continued to fly other missions. He was just scheduled on other missions.
The Jonas brothers are here. They're out there somewhere. Sasha and Malia are huge fans, but boys don't get any ideas. I have two words for you: predator drones. You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?
How will Obama defend his secret kill list next week at the foreign policy debate?
That's an American citizen that's being targeted without due process of law, without trial, and he's underage, he's a minor.
I would suggest that you should have a far more responsible father if they're truly concerned about the well-being of their children.
You said that he was responsible for these things.
Yes, but again...
Is there going to be any evidence presented?
I don't have anything for you on that.
Do you not see at all, does the administration not see at all how a president asserting that he has the right to kill an American citizen without due process, and that he's not going to even explain why he thinks he has that right, is troublesome to some people? What do you think constitutional law professor Barack Obama would think of this?
I think he spoke about it today.
According to NBC News, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer has said that no American citizens will be targeted in military strikes under President Donald Trump, suggesting a break from one of the Obama administration's most controversial efforts.
Then the commander decided that approach was no longer going to work, and he told Rhino he had to either fly the mission or he would go the quote-unquote legal route. So he gave Rhino the order to fly the mission.
You are the American people. You are this country. Our government is simply in power for a short period of time. They are not the country. The press is not the country. The pulpit is not the country. You are the country.
In 2011 marked the first targeted killing of an American citizen by a U.S. drone.
We decided to fly armed drones over Yemen, and we were going to kill him. And while we were told pretty much every day that this guy was a traitor to the United States, it was brought to my attention while we were doing this that that's a violation of the Constitution of the United States.
And I had this kind of elation. This kind of I was doing my job. They had finally molded me to be what they wanted me to be. And I said, well, what's the problem? Leadership says that this man is a traitor. He deserves to die. We are hunting him down for a reason.
Look at what Brandon says next. He says, and because I violated that constitutional right, I became an enemy of the American people. Man, that's powerful.
And Rhino refused. He brought in a witness, he gave Rhino the order to fly the mission, and Rhino refused in front of a witness. Rhino then got an area defense counsel, smart move, and the commander decided that the order should be repeated in writing. I will never forget, ever, sitting at the Red Lobster in Clovis, New Mexico, when we got the call that he needed to go into the boss's office to review this order in writing and sign his refusal in writing. But he did. It was all handled very calmly and professionally on all sides.
Damage. We also had issues, obviously, concerning lethal force against U.S. citizens.
I'd like to encourage the law students here who are thinking about a career to think about a career serving your country. You'll find it remarkably rewarding. And so I said the same thing to a group of Yale law students about 2 years ago in a speech sort of comprehensive like this. And what was interesting about it is that the national media covering the speech, I ended the speech the same way. The national media covering the speech, headlines were, DOD lawyer, Pentagon lawyer defends drone strikes.
Now, addressing any one of these challenges is a tall order. Addressing all of them at once is a monumental task. But that's what the dedicated men and women of the Department of Homeland Security do every day. And today I'm proud to announce my choice to lead them. An outstanding public servant who I've known and trusted for years, Mr. Jay Johnson.
But I personally was terrified. I thought for sure we were headed to a court-martial. I did not know where this was going to end up.
I was wondering whether at the time that you were a drone operator, did you witness fellow drone operators refusing to execute strikes?
Well, here's a story about a young girl. She's actually like her and I've been in a disagreement since I started talking out. Well, she was like, I'm never going to shoot again. You can do whatever you want to me, but if I'm in a position to shoot, I will never take that shot ever again. And then she was like, I'm going to go see a psychologist too. So she was the first. She's actually probably the one of the first people that I knew that actually stood up for herself in the drone world. And so she went and saw a psychologist. I didn't see her for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months.
So you would get a dishonorable discharge if you made the mistake of having enough honor to care about killing innocent civilians.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, welcome to our.
If you question the system, then they would discharge you. And then she came back and started flying again, and nothing happened. They didn't take her clearance from her. They didn't kick her out. They didn't give her a dishonorable discharge. And that was in middle of 2010, maybe end of 2010. Actually, we're going to go back further to when I was in training. There were 2 people that filed for conscientious objector status, and they were denied, and they were just put in a back room to file paperwork for the rest of their enlistment. And so that was kind of a fear factor too, was if you wanted to get out of the program because you felt uncomfortable, they weren't going to let you go, and you weren't going to get promoted. They were just going to put you away in the back room, and you were just going to be left to rot. And I think that's how they really control most of the members of the drone community, is through fear and intimidation.
My question is to Brandon Bryant. Have you ever considered turning in yourself to the International Criminal Court for war crimes? So, just a sense more, as much as I admire what you speak out and what you do, and suggest somebody else cut the fiber optic cables, I cannot believe you think it's just that if I go out and murder somebody, I go to jail, and you choose to redeem yourself spiritually.
I don't even believe in the rule of law, to be honest. I'm more anarchist than anything else, the more that I progress through this journey of life. And so I feel like if someone's going to punish me, it's going to be you guys. It's not going to be some bullshit official who has no idea what the hell's going on, other than some rules that are made up to keep people in line. And the only way to fix the problem isn't to stand in front of a judge or a jury and to make an example of myself. What am I going to do if I'm going to be sitting in prison, right? What would I accomplish? I would be able to do nothing. I wouldn't be able to talk. I wouldn't be able to.
And I don't believe that any court system is going to punish me worse than I would punish myself.
On the other hand, I wanted to jump to Chantal and ask you, can we imagine a future where Brandon could be prosecuted for war crimes?
I've actually, just before I pass this on, I've actually stood in front of the UN and said, you guys can persecute me for war crimes if you want to. And they said it wouldn't be necessary.
Okay, now, this is not an easy question. Let's say that, as I said before, I believe that the targeted killings that are committed, through drones or with other methods, in contravention to the principles that I said exist, the responsibility of the pilot himself is there, but from my point of view, it's more important to focus on the responsibility of the commanders, of those who gave the orders, of those who planned the unlawful operation. But of course, also the pilot, the individual soldier who shoots, if she realizes that the order she received was unlawful, has an obligation to disobey the order. We are not in a gray zone, can amount to war crimes. Someone, even if he was obeying an order, can be held responsible for war crimes because there is a principle nowadays which is recognized over any domestic legislation, is more important than the international law, which is that if you realize that the order that you have been given is unlawful, you have to disobey. Otherwise, you are complicit in it. So this is said shortly.
After a few months of waiting on pins and needles, well, it felt like a few months, it may have been a few weeks. However, the command decided to issue Rhino a letter of reprimand. That was both good and bad. On the upside, an LOR, Rhino had so many we named our ferret Lors, spelled L-O-R-S. On the downside, an LOR did not resolve anything. It didn't adjudicate the lawfulness of the order. If he'd been given it again, or a similar mission, the cycle would have simply repeated itself. So Rhino decided that the only thing he could do was to resign his commission, even though he had 15 plus years of active duty service at that time. So in the 3 days that you have to respond to an LOR, he filled out also this resignation form that he found online and paperwork, and when he responded to the LOR, he delivered that as well to the squadron commander. And Rhino went for a year, and his security clearance was suspended, and he was taken off the flight line at that time. And he went for a year and worked, and I use that term very loosely, in the CE squadron. Bear in mind, he's a religion major, while we waited to see what would happen. What we did not know is at that time, the command, in addition to suspending his clearance, had attempted to permanently revoke it, probably with an eye of a separation thereafter. So we are waiting in limbo. I'm sitting in my office. I get a call. Rhino says, I just had a call, I have to report to the commander's office. I'm not gonna lie, my heart sank. In my experience, that call had not led to flowers and roses. So he went in, and a few hours later he called me and he said, the Air Force rejected the command's attempt to revoke my security clearance. They want me out of Cannon as quickly as possible, and they're offering me Korea with a follow-on to the White Jet assignment of my choice. I'm sure my colleagues could hear me yell, take the assignment from down the hall. And so we were off to Korea.
Because being, back in 2015, there was this man named Rick Rynierson who started attacking me.
My name is Rick Rynierson. I'm a former drone pilot. I once refused a mission because it violated the Constitution of the United States. I would like to now speak with you about Brandon Bryant.
Online, and how they treated me, and the fact that there's no one else really that has of who I've been with has really reached out, and I've been really fucking pissed about that. Like I want to punch them all in the gut. Like I just want one solid fucking hit right below the solar plexus. But I'm a really one thing that the reason I bring Rick up is because like I wanted to rely on this guy because because his history is, while he's also this huge dickhole, he also obeyed a command that he felt was wrong, and I feel like that needs to be honored.
And one thing about that is I didn't do that. I never once said no. And I know where that comes from for me. And I have to say that I admire Rick Rainerson for that. Because
So when did you start feeling bad about this program, and why? Why did it start to eat away at your...
Because I lost that respect for life.
So you'd become an assassin?
I'd become heartless. I'd become, and it like...
You felt like you were a hitman now?
Not necessarily. I just felt like a sociopath, actually, if you want to say that. I wanted to kill these people. These were bad guys. We had a list of their accomplishments underneath them, but instead of being like, man, these guys need to die, but I'm really sad that we have to execute extreme measures, I was like, man, I can't wait for these guys to die.
And yet you didn't quit at that point. You kept doing it. What made you finally quit? What was it?
One day, it was late 2010, we had a wall that had 5 pictures on it of top Al-Qaeda leaders. And I remember walking in one day, and I kind of stopped and looked at one of these guys, and I was like, man, which one of these motherfuckers is going to die today? I was just a soldier. I was just a warrior who had done his job, done his duty as best as he could, and at the very end of my commitment, I realized what we were doing is wrong.
What made you think about what you were doing and eventually decide to stop?
It was accumulation of a lot of things, actually. Mostly that the leadership was lacked quality.
But as soon as everyone's contract gets up, they get out. No one wants to deal with anyone else's bullshit. No one wants to sit there and do this job day in and day out, and our command saying, yeah, continue leaning forward, continue doing the job, you're protecting guys on the ground, you're doing an awesome job. And then our command goes off and they party all the time and they don't even show up to work, and they're getting flight pay. There's assholes in my chain of command who are getting flight pay for only flying once every 30 days, and I wasn't getting flight pay, and I was flying every frickin' day of the week. So all the leadership in our squadron did the minimum amount of flying that they had to, and they were getting paid to do it. They were getting flight extra pay, so they're getting flight pay and stuff. And those of us, young airmen, didn't have a flying AFSC. We weren't getting flight pay. But the reason I got out actually originally was because my contract ran. I spent 6 years in active duty military, and my contract was up. And then I decided I wasn't going to re-enlist. Doing research on this man's background, I feel like, I don't really give a fuck about his upbringing, but his attitude is that of a fighter pilot, for sure. Like the worst of the worst types of fighter pilots, like the ones that watched Maverick and emulate Tom Cruise instead of Iceman.
That's not what I heard.
No, we did. We got Jester.
No. Below the hard deck does not count.
Hard deck my ass. We nailed that son of a bitch.
Ah, you guys really are cowboys.
What's your problem, Kazansky? You're everyone's problem. That's because every time you go up in the air, you're unsafe. I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. Nice, man. I am dangerous.
I'll be quick and dirty with this one, because Rick Rainerson is a government slut who likes to take that fat military industrial cock and watch as his wife is cucked by better and better men. Rick Rainerson continues to paint a target on my back. He's been stalking me and harassing me ever since I began blowing the whistle on America's disastrous drone program. He stalked me online and done everything he can to ruin my reputation. My biggest opponents and the ones that get in my way are veterans Rick Reinierson is a veteran. He was in the program. He knows how fucking shit he is. I don't understand what his fucking issue is unless he's being paid by the government to do what he's doing. Being a troll, being an asshole. When this guy first came into my life, just like everyone else that I did, I accepted him into my life, hoping that he was a fucking major. He could have helped. He could have gotten everything. Everything could have been better. And instead, he let his fat fucking ego get in the way. I hate the fact that someone like Rick Reinierson, whose wife is a lawyer, the stupid cunt, he can sit there and do whatever he wants and not face any repercussions. And I was hurt because I had hope for this guy. I mean, hope for us all. I thought he was like, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Like, I really felt like I was just out there fighting a battle again by myself. Whenever I think of Rick, I'm not even mad. I'm just sad. I'm just fucking sad. There's no one that loves me. There's no one that will probably ever love me, and I'm okay with that. I was hoping that I would find someone that's if Rick wanted to ever know what my highest ideals for him were, I wanted him to be like Jean-Luc Picard, who is the only real person that I would have ever considered to have serve under, and it'd been an honor. I wanted that. I wanted him to be that person who I can say that I served under someone who I admired, even if it wasn't directly. Like I would have worked with him. And
I actually really have to thank the people that have caused very much problems in my life, because my enemies, because they've shown me what it is that I believe and I stand for, and what truly is evil in this world. Rick Reinierson is an evil, fat fucking piece of shit. Our politicians and those people that are evil are my enemy. And if I have to continue fighting alone, then I guess that's what I will do. And this time I'm not tormented. I'm not being chased by my demons, or my ghosts, or my thoughts, or my emotions. And I guess that's where the real fun begins. Yeah. If you don't hear from me, good luck. And if you're my enemy, go fuck yourself. If I don't kill you in this life, I'll kill you in the next.
You will submit, and you will die.
In December, the Pick Your Battles YouTube page posted a video titled, "Brandon Bryant Promises to Eliminate People Over the Next Year." The man in the video goes on to say he will, quote, hunt down and eliminate members of the Missoula City Council and the United States military. Bryant is well known to City Council and law enforcement, and last month brought an apparent weapon to a City Council meeting.
I swore an oath not to kill another human being again.
Bryant claims to be an Air Force veteran. City Council President Brian von Lossberg says these threats are being taken very seriously.
It can be traumatizing. I'm the parent of a second grader. I look at almost everything through the lens of, being a parent and a partner to my wife. So it has a real effect.
It's unclear what prompted these threats, but they seem to be related to development proposals approved by City Council.
It was pretty graphic.
Interim Chief of Police Mike Collier says the police department has issued a written notice of trespass to Bryant, meaning that he can no longer attend public meetings held by the City Council.
We immediately followed up on it. He explained that his purpose with the intent was not really to carry out harm, that he was just frustrated and he wanted some attention to the frustration he was experiencing with the City Council.
Chief Collier also says MPD has had a police presence at City Council meetings for about a year now, and his officers offered to connect Bryant with any necessary resources. In Missoula, Katie Miller, MTN News.